Did I start off with a good noise? Was that good? Okay, awesome. There we go. We can only go up from here, right? Before we get into anything else, I just want to say this is October, so it's spooky season. It's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I'm going to touch on these. And if any of these are more than what you're ready for this morning, that's 100% fine. I'm going to invite you to maybe grab another drink, check out the merch table, and just when it's the moment for you, go ahead and take your space. Take care of yourself. It's what's the most important thing that we can do. And it would honor me most if you take care of yourself by not being here if that's what you need, okay? Hi, I'm Nela Lamb. Yay. Please use they, them when you're speaking about me. I'm an artist and an activist right here in St. Petersburg. For art, right now I'm doing clay and drag. Clay I like to do in a wood fire because it brings a lot of unpredictability to it, and it's a community aspect. Drag, which I do under the name of Blaze a Trail, performing tonight at the Garage on Central at 8:30. For drag, I like it to be a joyous moment, and I like to really share with the audience. I'm going to talk a little bit about clay, but I could go on and on about wood fire, like for hours, which you would know if you came to any of the tours I did for the Trans Clay Body Show at the Morian last spring. And if you're interested, I have a piece right now at the Hive Community Clay on 49th Street, and the show closes tomorrow evening. So I'm offering, if anybody would like to, I will do like a guided visit of it, and I will talk about wood fire tomorrow at 2. I think Zach's got a sign-up list, so once we're done with all this, find Zach, get your name on that list. If there's at least 2 people who want to come, I will talk your ears off. Part of what's interesting about wood fire is that there's all that unpredictability that I talked about, but in all pieces with clay, we're dealing with this soft material, and it's part of what, when Bree and I were talking about soft, that then we can turn into something like permanent and hard and durable and almost eternal. We have found pieces of ceramic clay shards that are 20,000 years old. They're from the late glacial maximum, because apparently a maximum is a time period. I don't know what one of those words is the noun. They all sound like adjectives to me. But so there's this element where we can take something soft and we can really make it eternal and durable. And I think that's really appealing in this time when things feel very transient. But clay is also really fascinating when it's still in its soft phase. Because when clay is soft, it's actually eternal on its own. You can take clay that has not been fired and continually and repeatedly reuse it. You can let it become as dry and dry and dry, drier than bone, and then you can rehydrate it and turn it into something new. So it is eternally workable clay before it's been fired and turned into ceramic, which is also eternal. So it's sort of this really interesting paradox where before firing, it's eternally usable and workable, and after firing, it's kind of eternally durable. And I could go on and on about clay, too. I've got a couple of my pieces here. Here's me in front of some other people's pieces and some work there. And as I said, I invite you to come tomorrow to the Hive, and I'll let you see one of the largest pieces that I've got right now. But I don't really want to give you an art lecture today. Will you guys come with me on a thought experiment? Awesome. Thank you. Let me make sure I'm on the right space here. Okay. Can you imagine landing in a giant pile of hay? Not clay, hay. Now can you imagine landing in a giant pile of grass? And kind of think about what would each of those feel like. Do you have some descriptors for what those things would feel like? Just go ahead and shout them out if you've got some words. There we go. I got itchy, sticky. Did I hear? Not as soft, dense, all sorts of things. Okay. Now, which would you rather land? Can we vote on which we would rather land in? Okay. If you'd rather land in a pile of hay, raise your hand. Okay. And if you'd rather land in a pile of grass, raise your hand. All right, we got a little bit more for grass. For those of you who picked grass, why did you pick it? Just shout it out. Okay. There we go. Right, just smells better. Because I said experience it. I didn't just say just how does it feel, but also think about how does it smell, how does it taste? Hay can also smell good, exactly. We got all the arguments here. I've got a secret for you. Grass and hay are the same thing. They're just in different states. Because hay is grass that has dried out and become brittle, stiff. And grass is hay before it got all dried out back when it was? Soft. Right. Soft. Exactly. All right? So one of the things that I really want to talk about is being soft versus being brittle. So I hope everybody has a card and a pen. Oh, I was supposed to probably do a bunch of these things. Look, I do drag. See, I said that? Yeah, that's some of the drag stuff. This was actually at Hotel Haya, this last shot here, which is where Creative Mornings is over when it's in Tampa. Woo-hoo! Shout out to Hotel Haya. Because of my drag career, I got to be in Southern Bride magazine. I don't know, there was some crazy photo shoot. They needed an Elvis. There we go. You never know what opportunities will arise if you just say yes. That's a whole different talk. That's not today. A little bit more drag. These are also at Allendale. I tend to do the last Friday of the month, a fundraiser at Allendale for drag in the evenings. Anyway, it's different times now. Okay, so you've got your card. What do you believe you should already be ready for, but you just aren't yet? Now, I'm not going to make you share this with your neighbor, share this with me. We're not going to write your answer up on the screen. I swear, I promise. And this is not a bait and switch. Oh, but later we'll make you do a thing, and it's really, really amazing, and you feel really good afterwards. I swear, but that's not what's going to happen here. I just want you to think about it. Just get inside. What is something that you, and not even really just that you think, but like you believe, no, that you know. Like you really know, God, you should freaking be ready for this by now. Why are you not ready? Like what is the thing that you carry around inside that you kind of beat yourself up about? That you really don't want to talk about because you're maybe even a little ashamed of it. How is it possible? How is it possible? You fought for this. This is me now. It took 2 years for that divorce to finally happen. How are you still not ready? How are you still not ready to go and take care of this? It's been 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. How are you still not ready to take care of that paperwork? How is it? Just think about it. Go ahead, take a minute, write it down. No one's going to have to look at it. I swear. Those things that are deep inside. Got some people still writing, that's great. We're here for you. This morning is for you. Okay, remember when I asked you which you'd rather land on, hay or grass? Now I'm going to ask you to think about what you'd want your loved ones to land on. Do you want your loved ones to land on hay or land on grass? And then I want you to ask you if you want for your loved ones to come to you when the world has been rough, when they are feeling ragged and hurt and used by this world. Do you want to be that place of grass for them? And I'd love to say, cool, I've got this pill. You can take this pill when they come to you, and you will immediately be that soft place of grass, and you will be there, and you'll be soft and safe and calm for them. But that's not how it works. You can't just go about your life all the time being however, and then when somebody needs you to be soft, be soft. Does anybody remember their first yoga class? Right. You're like, you want me to put what, where? How are humans doing that? And I wish there were a pill that I could take to just be able to put my whatever wherever it is that they want it, but there's not, right? Yoga is called a practice. And I would argue that it's a practice in softness. And yet people I know who do yoga are also super strong, right? Because I'm going to argue that softness is not the opposite of strength. That in order to be soft, how strong I have had to become. The things that I have endured, the things that I have seen, I would wish them on no one. I wish that I could gift you the softness that I have learned, but I can't. As much as I wish that I could just gift you softness, I wish that no one would ever live through what I did, and none of those wishes would come true. But I have learned to live in a continual state of softness and a continual state of strength, because I know my softness cannot exist without my strength. I have known too much danger. I have too many fossils of fear inside of me to have softness without strength. It is my strength to make myself safe at all times that allows me to be soft, even to the parts of me that scare me. So I don't speak to you of softness from a place of frivolity or carelessness or just fuck around and find out. I speak to you from learned experience, but also a place of dire urgency, because I'm not okay with how the world's going right now. Like, I'm not okay with this thing where humans are treating other humans in ways that are totally not humane. And I want it to change. But I don't believe that things change unless I change. And I do believe that I'm a vector. I believe that every I, every me, every person in this room, in this world who says, I can be the change right now, I can make the change happen, each one of us is an element and an impact, and all those impacts add up together, and that brings about change. So if you want to see the revolution of grass versus hay, of a soft place to land versus thousands of tiny spikes digging into your skin, let it begin with you. It's as easy and as hard as that. But it's as simple as that. It's not bigger than that, and it's not smaller than that, because changing yourself is not easy. Many people have asked me in the last couple of years what my job is. And basically I say I'm an artist and I'm an activist, and I also really know deep down inside, and I share to some of the people really close to me, my job is healing, and my job is growing. And I'm really lucky, not because I have to heal, but because I know that healing and growing are really the reason that I'm here and the greatest thing I could ever do. Now, I'm also super busy. Oh wait, that was supposed to be up this whole time. Yeah, so I said I'm an activist. I've spoken before the Florida Senate. I've marched the Let Us Live March for trans rights in Tallahassee, made the front page of the Tallahassee Democrat at the protests. There we go, the Senate again, and visited Alligator Alcatraz. I'm on the board of a local group that's helping defend trans and non-binary rights here in the Tampa Bay area. Spoiler. But I try not to let how busy I am turn into busyness, because I know that that's how I'd like to hide. When I feel that urge, when I feel the urge to just add a new project, a new objective, a new plan, I try to be soft with myself. I try to sit and listen to myself and just make room for the part of me that's scared, for the part of me that doesn't want to sit with what's happening inside. And I remember each little time that I have how much I grow and how much more able to tolerate all of the things that happen in life I become. I make grass for me. And because I know how to make grass for me, I know how to make grass for my loved ones. Because when I make grass for me, it's enabled me to open up and talk about some of those parts inside that hurt, some of those parts that would in the past have rather felt better by making grass for some asshole. They felt hurt and abused and scared and alone and not good enough and ashamed. I had so much shame. And some of it might have been real, but some of it was gifted to me. Because remember earlier when I was like, I can't gift you softness. I don't know that we can gift each other the good things, but oh my, how we gift each other the crap. I got some of the shame from my family. I got a bunch of the shame from my ex-partner and from their family. And I just took it all on, and I held it so tight in my hands that I thought it was my own fingerprints. And the only way that I found to feel better, given that my fingerprints were full of shame, was to try and make other people happy. And again, I guess I was lucky, because the person that I was trying most to make happy was never going to be contented with me. And I know never because I worked so hard. We're supposed to talk about soft, but this part is hard. I have never worked harder in my life than to try and make this person happy. But hard was never the answer. And I worked so hard that finally I knew it had to end. I knew I had to leave. I had to unpack every piece of who I thought I am that I thought was wrapped up in them. Some of the pieces I had to take back, and some of the pieces I just had to leave because I had to leave. If this is hitting, you are never alone. There is always help. And leaving was hard. But harder than that was that I had to stay gone. Now, it is super appropriate that at the same time that the theme for Creative Mornings is soft, and I really want to talk to you guys about how critical it is to stay soft, how crucial it is, how vital it is for each and every one of us to stay soft for ourselves, to stay soft for our loved ones, to stay soft for our enemies. How the greatest, bravest thing we could do is be soft. And as I'm working on this, my feed is filling with reminders that October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I have friends who have dealt with varying stages of breast cancer, and then I have me. I am unfortunately a survivor of domestic violence. So when I say getting out was hard, I mean it. And when I say staying out was hard, I mean I know the statistics. That if I go back, statistically, it would take 6 more times for when I get out for me to stay out if I survive. Because the 18 months after I leave are the most dangerous. You are not alone. I have debated at this point and gone back and forth about whether or not I need to make clear that whether or not there was physical violence, and I do not, because all domestic violence is domestic violence. I don't want there to be categories. Well, this happened, so it's real, and that happened, so maybe it's sort of... No, I don't think that's up for debate. I do not believe that as a society, we're there, but I don't care. I'm going to live as though we're there, because that's how I want to live my life. About domestic violence, but also about softness. Because I'm going to give my life as though we finally come to understand that all domestic violence is outrageous, destructive, despicable, and equally violating and humiliating to the people on whom it is perpetrated. And all of the survivors of domestic violence are warriors. So when I say it was hard to get out, it was hard to get out. I understand hard. And I know that staying out was the job of my life right there, and I know what that means. And it was hard AF. And so I became hard. Like, that makes sense. I get that. I don't blame myself for becoming hard. All of that was incredibly hard. And that made me hard. Like, I needed to protect myself, I needed to be safe, so I just locked myself up in my tower. And I got hard on life, and I got hard on people around me, and I got hard on me, and I got hard on all of it. And that makes sense. Like, I get that. And I sat there for a while. And then it was kind of lonely. And it was kind of scary because everybody in the world was scary. Because if you have to protect yourself from everybody, it's because they're scary. And then I didn't want that anymore. But I didn't want relationships the way I'd done them before because there was this whole weird, like, subversive submission. I don't know what was happening. And it seemed like too much to get soft. But also, I saw that I had a strength that I hadn't had before. Because to keep everybody away, like, I had to push people away, like, really hard. And that built a lot of strength, all that pushing. And then I just had to figure out how to use that strength differently. And it's kind of like if I just lifted barbells all the time, and then I suddenly want to hold a baby. Like, I have the strength, my muscles just don't quite know how to do it yet. But I can refine that strength and learn how to remember that my strength inside will always keep me safe. So I don't need you to keep me safe, so I can be soft, because I'm keeping me safe. And even when I mess up, I'm soft with me. And that's the greatest thing to come home to, is that like, I love you guys and you guys are great to me, but if you weren't, I'm gonna be great to me. Because I'm just gonna be a soft place for me. And once I became a soft place for me, I can be a soft place for others. And I can let people in and I can see what they're like. And I don't have to be everybody's best friend, but I don't have to be ready to fight. Right. Because I had this big fight with myself. Like I mentioned, it was 2 years for the divorce papers to be signed. It was like 3 months, 4 months later, and I still haven't gone to France to take care of the finished paperwork. What's wrong with me? Why am I not ready yet? Unfortunately, in all that time, I've been working on being soft with myself. And so it's become a habit. And instinctively, this little voice was just like, so what if you're not ready? It's okay. Who are you hurting by not being ready? So you're just not ready, and that's all. And then when I am ready, I go ahead and I book the flights and I go, and the entire time there was a great affirmation of how much growth I've let myself have, and how I gave myself like the greatest gift, which is time. And just being with me, letting myself grow. So I wasn't ready when I thought I should be ready, but whose rule was that? And when I just made some soft space, then I could get ready. So I want you to think about what you put on your card. And imagine that it's one of your most cherished loved ones that's coming to you, full of shame that they're not ready for that. And what is the gigantic pile of grass that you would make for them? Can you consider making that for yourself? I think the more that we can make soft piles of grass for ourselves, the more that we can change the world. I have found that soft piles for myself have made me less vulnerable to abuse, and make it easier for me to make soft piles for you. Thank you. So I see the sheet for signing up for the tours is over on the side desk. I see Bree running up to me, and also I think there's question and answer time, but maybe Bree has something else to say.
It's just that. If anyone has a burning question for Nela, we would love to hear it. What an impactful talk. Thank you. Thank you so much for what you shared. It is vulnerable to get up here. It looks like Luella has a question, so we are going to... Oh, actually, Luella, this mic is hot, if I'm not mistaken. That, I think, is our question mic. No, here it is. This is our question mic.
Thank you. Hi, Nela. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. That was wonderful, and it's very touching. I definitely resonated with all of that. But I wanted to ask you, as a fellow artist, I will speak for myself. I have the benefit of having my bandmates when I have those times when we're working on music, and you get that feeling as an artist, the piece isn't ready, it's not good enough, I'm not ready to let it go. So working with your clay on your own, how are ways that when do you let it go? How do you manage that?
Thank you. As always, that's a great question. I think clay is fantastic because it can wait and then it won't wait anymore. So I have a lot of clay that I reclaim, which is that it got too dry for me to keep working on. And those are just... Okay, a lot of my work with clay is my therapeutic work. So a lot of the goal for me is not necessarily the finished product. It's for me to be in the act of dealing with the clay. I punch clay, I slap clay, I slam wedge, I slam slab. I do a lot of getting my work out through there, and then I listen to the clay, because the clay is that reflection of me, and then sometimes I just look at it and say, okay, are we ready? Do we need more? And I think that there's an obsession with, I've watched some ceramicists in a space of trying to always do more, do more, do more. And that's great, because then you'll get to the point where you've done too much and it'll fall apart. And that will teach us about life. Like, there is no perfect. Spoiler. There just isn't. And that's hard. That's scary. Like, perfect would be great. I would love to hide behind perfect. If I could just be perfect, then I'd be okay. But I can't, because there isn't. And so clay has been really therapeutic for me in learning all of that. And that's part of what I love about wood fire, is that you don't control it. You don't get to control it, which means you don't have to control it, but means you don't get to. And so you're never going to be fully in charge of what happens. Spoiler, just like life. Like, it's that sort of thing. So thank you. Anything else? Was that good? Did that help? Come on, bring it. I'm ready. 2,200 degrees. No? 5 days. Every 5 minutes we feed wood into the fire. Come to the hive, please. I can't get enough of talking about clay. And please save my best friends from having to listen to more of it. Let me tell it to you. And really, anything else. And honestly, can we go back to it? If anything is happening, please reach out. If CASA is not the right end destination for you, they will know where to get you to. If you are thinking that there might be something that's happening in your relationship that might not be okay, get some more information, because it might not be okay. And you are not alone. And you can make it. And you can have an amazing life. I swear.